We are witnessing the birth of a new world monetary order. This was from 2021. It was in March, and it was from Zoltan Pozsar. This guy released a couple things that sparked a lot of debate and interest on crypto Twitter because he's spot on the money. And it's everything that we had called for and kind of set up in our course programs on stargate-ventures.com. If you haven't already gone over to stargate-ventures.com and clicked on the education and software button, then went to join this Opportunity of Crypto Accelerator course for absolutely free, it's a must. I'll put the link in the bio. Come join it because it's everything we laid out in Mission 1, our current system and why it sucks, the biggest scam of history of mankind, the history of money, understanding inflation, Bretton Woods system, the gold standard, the Bancor, IMF, SDR, petrodollar, world reserve currencies, because it sets the backdrop of where we were and where we're at now and where we're headed to in this future system. Then it goes into the timeline of revolutions, the fourth industrial revolution, the history of the internet, from the internet of information to the future of the internet, Web 3.0 to the internet of value. Like, we laid this out so good and so structured to have it all make sense and come full circle about the opportunity that we're sitting at right now. And everything that we cover on our YouTube and our videos, newsletters, deep dives touches upon these things. So get yourself up to speed. I'll put the link in the bio to come join this. But we are witnessing the birth of a new world monetary order. Let's read this. So we're witnessing the birth of Bretton Woods 3. That's why I just told you to join this, because we have Bretton Woods in here and you got to first understand the regular Bretton Woods to understand Bretton Woods 3. But a new world monetary order is centered around commodity-based currencies in the East that will likely weaken the euro-dollar system and also contribute to inflationary forces in the West is upon us. In a note published earlier, Zoltan wrote, "This crisis is not like anything we have seen since President Nixon took the US dollar off gold in 1971, heading back to here." That's what we talked about in this. So the gold standard right here. So let's continue on. The end of the era of commodity-based money. When this crisis is over, the US dollar should be much weaker. From the Bretton Woods era backed by gold bullion to Bretton Woods 2 backed by inside money, treasuries with unhedgeable confiscation risk, the Bretton Woods 3 backed by outside money, gold bullion, and other commodities, Zoltan believes the global monetary system will never be the same post the crisis. That's why it's a once in a generation opportunity that we're living in here, and you've got to understand it to the core. You really got to feel it inside of you, because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and how much you capitalize on it is totally up to you. But if we head down here, he said a crisis of commodities could be unfolding. Commodities are collateral and collateral is money, and the crisis is about the rising allure of outside money over inside money. Bretton Woods 2 was built on inside money, and its foundations crumbled a week ago when the G7 seized Russia's foreign exchange reserves. By reviewing the parallels between the crises currently unfolding and the crisis of 1997, 1998, 2008, and 2020, he mentioned we could draw the conclusion that every crisis occurs at the intersection of funding and collateral markets. At present, commodities are collateral, and more precisely, Russian commodities are like subprime collateral and everything else is prime. If we link them up with the four prices of money, par, interest, exchange rate, and price level, we see a pattern which should make us concerned. He adds that commodities used to trade at tight spreads until now, they no longer trade at par. There are Russian commodities that are collapsing in price, and there are non-Russian commodities that are rallying. This is due to 2022 Russia supply shock, which is driven by future and present sanctions related to stigma. He believes Russian commodities today are like subprime CDOs were in 2008. Conversely, non-Russian commodities are like US Treasury securities back in 2008. One collapsing in price and the other one surging, with margin calls on both regardless of which side you're on. Commodities basis is climbing. He pointed out from 1997, 2008, and 2020, we learned that someone somehow must always provide a backstop. He believes Western central banks cannot close the gap in commodity basis because their respective sovereigns are the ones driving the sanctions. They have to deal with the inflationary impacts of the commodity bases and try to cool them with rate hikes, but they will not be able to provide the outside spreads and won't be able to provide balance sheet to close Russia, non-Russia spreads. Commodity traders wouldn't be able to either, so who would provide the backstop this time, he questions. What I believe is it could be an international institution like the Bank for International Settlements, the IMF, or a new multilateral institution. So how central banks are reshaping the definition of money. This is literally today at 2:22 p.m., about 2 hours ago. Central bankers acknowledge that the nature of money evolves with technology, shifting definitions of money with it, but they're not ready to let innovation occur organically as technology emerges. They want to maintain control. How banks and businesses can prep for the FedNow instant payment system. So FedNow will be the first of its kind central bank instant payment system in the US and could revolutionize how businesses and consumers pay and receive money, but not everyone is prepared for it. This was released today. And if we go down here, after a pilot program that lasted 6 months, the US Federal Reserve System plans to launch its FedNow real-time payment system in July. We're here, baby. But many banks and businesses could be caught flat-footed when it launches. The central bank's payment and settlement rail is designed to increase liquidity, especially for small businesses and supply chain participants who can get paid instantly for goods and services. It also creates a new way for employees, especially gig and hourly rate employees, to get paid more quickly and frequently, perhaps every day. The new system will allow banks, businesses, and consumers to send and receive payments in about 10 seconds anytime, any day. As with other payment systems, there are fees associated with the service, and banks will have to decide who foots the bill. Merchants, consumers, neither or both. Banks aren't 24/7 in their operations today, so they'll have to have procedures set up to accommodate that liquidity management that happens in the middle of the night. Because if you give your customers the ability to do their banking in the middle of the night, they're going to do it. Initially, FedNow will only let banks receive payments. The ability to send payments and for consumers to be able to identify themselves by phone number and email only, as Venmo now allows, is expected to come later. We go down here, it's talking about ACH, talking about FedWire, and then it's talking about how they can take several minutes or several days for remittances or cross-border payments. We keep going down here. It says for many banks, a real shift. For a lot of banks, this is a real shift in operational thinking. The FedNow instant payment system will use the new ISO 222 global financial messaging standard, meaning banks will need to be sure they can submit messages in that format. Many banks may have already had the ability to submit messages through ISO 222 because FedNow is actually the second real-time payment system. We go down here. So bank systems are sorely outdated, however, and still rely on technology from the 1970s and 1980s. FedNow represents huge advances for the businesses of today that are moving money around. FedNow is an opportunity to deliver a great consumer experience, but also one for banks as well. It's a really good opportunity for the US to catch up with the rest of the world. I think there's going to be a big lift off when FedNow launches, and the hope is to get universal coverage that we have with ACH and Wire. There we go. So it's multiple step system to get where they're trying to go. All the separate countries in the world need to update their payment systems, the instant payment systems. They need to update and migrate over to ISO 222 universal standard. Then at that point, launching wholesale CBDCs, then for the foreign exchange conversion and that value transfer, value exchange mechanism, having digital, common, neutral settlement assets like XRP and XLM to have that last mile for the holy grail of cross-border payments. That's what's everything's lining up to. And we're seeing that now. And now we're sitting at the moment, July 2023. I remember when FedNow was supposed to launch, I think it was like 2020, and they delayed it 3 years. Now we're here, baby. So times are definitely getting exciting. Because also in July, we have review of the Financial Stability Board high-level recommendations of the regulation, supervision, oversight of global stablecoin arrangements. If we go down here, it says the FSB, so the Financial Stability Board, aims to finalize updated high-level recommendations by July 2023, reflecting comments received through public consultation. So they're going to be releasing the high-level recommendations, the Financial Stability Board, on global stablecoins. Global stablecoin. So this is going to be big. We're going to have to keep an eye out for this. Then let's go to the next one. Probability for US approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF is fairly high, 100%. You have heavy hitters filing applications, Fidelity, BlackRock, I think VanEck. You have so many big institutions that are filing, and I believe, Invesco, WisdomTree, I believe it's going to get approved. Then we have the U.S. Federal Reserve certifies 57 companies to utilize FedNow instant payment system. The introduction of FedNow marks a significant step forward in the evolution of the U.S. payment infrastructure. You have 57 companies. You got JP Morgan, Bank of New York Mellon, U.S. Bancorp, Wells Fargo. They have already successfully completed formal testing and will be posed to offer instant payment once the service is operational. And the magic day is July 20th. So then we have, what is the International Monetary Fund? How does it work? This was a couple days ago from Cointelegraph. Everything that we had laid out in our course videos here, right there, the IMF, the SCR. So go through this. I'll put the link in the bio. It's free and it's going to get you caught up to speed, and now or never, because we're sitting at the moment. But what is the International Monetary Fund? How does it work? tells you what it is, objectives of them, the governance structure, the key functions, their perspective on digital currencies, and financial inclusion. So a new IMF post warning against crypto asset adoption claims that CBDCs can improve financial inclusion and lower remittance costs. Does that ring a bell, anyone? Avoid the CBDC trap, choose Bitcoin instead. But Bitcoin's slow, it's clunky. The powers that be are not going to let go their authority over a monetary system like that. So they're trying to launch these CBDCs. We know who's working with these institutions. So that's a hedge. You can own Bitcoin, but own a little bit of these other coins working with these guys as a hedge. What's the worst that could happen, right? One of them is going to be right. But cross-border implications, IMF is aware of the cross-border effects of digital currencies, including possible difficulties with regard to monetary policy, exchange rates, capital flows, and international cooperation. It emphasizes the value of global coordination and cooperation in resolving these. Then the IMF is intensively researching CBDCs, and they're talking about a global CBDC. They just released that a couple weeks ago here. So the narratives are being set. Then you got that same guy who I shared at the beginning coming back to it. This is brand new today. Zoltan Pozsar explains the coming monetary divorce. The former Credit Suisse strategist founds his own firm to capitalize on a shifting global financial system. Exactly what we're doing here at Stargate. We're capitalizing on it. We don't get extra cute, we execute. And that's what we're doing over here at Stargate. We're maximizing this opportunity for whatever we can get out of it. But if we go down, he built his reputation for covering the intricacies of money markets for the past 8 years. He published those insights as a strategist at Credit Suisse. He also gives us an update on his Bretton Woods 3 thesis, or the idea that the global financial system is going through a monetary divorce from US dollar hegemony and becoming more multipolar. He also gives us his take on the recent banking crisis and what it means for global funding. So there's a whole talk about it. 52 minutes, obviously not going to go through all that. Let's go to this. So is the Bretton Woods 3 thesis playing out, plus a new angle on CBDCs? Let's see. He said he hasn't talked about this aspect of Bretton Woods 3, but I kind of uncovered the new aspect of it, which is the whole central bank digital currency topic and how all that fits into Bretton Woods 3. And when you start digging in that domain, I think you uncover several things that are kind of eye-opening. So we're reading about more and more stories where natural gas deals and oil deals are invoiced in renminbi and not the US dollars, what he's talking about. So as we go down, he says this, which catches the eye. And it's basically, for you to do something like that, you basically need a full new correspondent banking system. So what have we talked about, or what has Ripple been disrupting? The correspondent banking system and their product RippleNet with XRP serving as that liquidity. Basically, yeah, I would join this Opportunity of Crypto Accelerator course, go through it all. Let me know once you complete it, how it is, and if you understand what's basically going on here, because we're living in the moments. We have FedNow going live in July. We have in August the BRICS Summit where they're unveiling their BRICS currency, and we have a whole lot of stuff in store for the rest of this year. So I believe July is going to be fireworks. It's going to be good. August, we'll see a brief cool down. September, we're going to rock it. October, there's going to be maybe a black swan crash. Then we're going to bottom out around November, December, and then start our rally towards the tail end of December into the first quarter of 2024, where I believe we're going to skyrocket. So that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. We're for sure living in crazy times right now, and it's time to capitalize. So link in the bio, join the Discord. Let me know if you want to get into Stargate VIP. We're executing over here. We just made 45% on CeLO trade in 2 days. We actually made 50% gains on converting XRP into Algo, then Algo into VeChain. We went back into XRP. We made 50% more XRP in a matter of 10 days by doing that while XRP has been flat. So we're plotting our next big move here. So now's the time to get in. Link is in the bio. When you join, ask Rob at Stargate how you can get VIP, or Eric at Stargate will get you suited up. So I hope you guys have a good 4th of July, and I'll see you guys in the Discord and in the next video.